Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Adrian's Digital Basement 2 Super Mini Mail Call. We have a package here, a big one from Brad in Sioux City, Iowa. Hi to all my viewers in Iowa. Oh, it says open on this end right here. Open, so I guess I'm gonna open it here. Oh wait, it says right here, open this side. I had it upside down. All right, what do we got in here? Whoa! Right off the bat, we have VIC-20 cartridges. Hey, Radar Rat Race. I loved this game when I had a VIC-20, even though it's a pretty arguably horrible game. Terrible music, but I had this cartridge on my VIC-20 as a little lad. I didn't have very many cartridges. In fact, I might have only had this one and the 16K RAM expansion cartridge, the Commodore one. But I had a lot of tape games. But I remember playing this a whole bunch, and for better or for worse. Hey, Gorf, Avenger, cool. Raid on Fort Knox, all right. We have a note here. The note reads, here's my VIC-20 parts that I promised you. After getting a pile of broken parts, I managed to make a working unit. These are the leftovers, enjoy. And if you don't need the carts, pass them on. Thank you very much. That's what I always do whenever, like, I don't need two radar rat races, so I will definitely be giving those away. But I only have a couple VIC-20 carts, so I will be keeping the other ones. Also included are the locally made twin Bings from my hometown of Sioux City, Iowa. You'll either love them or you'll hate them, just like my hometown. Cheers, Brad from Sioux City. Thank you, Brad. All right, well, let's see what we got here. Ooh, these are the goodies here. The twin Bing. What are these? Okay, so it says it's a s'mores. So it's a s'more, which means it's like it'll have marshmallow in it, chocolate, and then it will have cinnamon crackers or cinnamon biscuits. Is that what they're called? Boy, I'm forgetting already. All right, there it is. Like I said, it's a mound. So is this like a s'more ground up, basically? Let's give this a try. Well, to me, it's like chocolate and peanut butter and maybe marshmallow in the middle there or something. I don't know, but it's actually pretty good. I can't say I love them, but I really do like these quite a bit. So these will not last down here in the basement. I need to make sure I get together with some friends to share these because mondo calories in this thing. I'll eat the rest of this one though. Okay, I'll put that back in there. I thought that was pretty tasty. Really good. And the other one, who knows? But I'll definitely eat it if it was as good as the one in the green package. All right, what do we got here? We got VIC-20 computer carcasses. This is awesome. So Brad was able to make a working VIC-20 out of all the broken ones he bought, which is awesome. And then he has gone and sent me the residuals. So an original gold label, the pretty bog standard keyboard, although the keyboard feels a bit unusual and different. Even though it's a gold label on the top, it has a Commodore 64 power connector on it, so that does not match. I would say the motherboard that's in here potentially is not the original one that was in this particular case, because it would have had a 2-pin power supply. All right, we have a little something here, so I think I'll probably just unpack everything and then we'll take a closer look. Okay, we got a VIC-20 motherboard here. It's one of the shortboard versions, been pillaged for some parts. We got something here. What is this? Starplex? Deluxe game controller? What's this for? 90-day warranty. Made in Liberty Lake, Washington, USA. Requires 1 battery. Is this like does it have a video output on it? Okay, we're gonna have to take a look at what this is. Very interesting. All right, and I think that is it for the box. All right, all the plastic wrap went into my reusable box, but there was something wrapped up here. What is this? Looks like we have some ICs hiding out in here. Let's see what we got here. What do we got? All right, so we have a 6502 processor. We have a 6560, that's the video chip from the VIC-20. And we have some what are probably ROM chips here. 901486-06-01-01-06. I think those are ROMs. Okay, I grabbed the Retro Chip Tester Pro, and that's specifically for looking at those ROM chips. Let's make sure that those work okay. I don't know if these are 2364s or 2332s, so I'm going to just assume they're 2364s, like a Commodore 64. So on here we pick Commodore, and let's see what this says. Okay, 901486-01, VIC-2001 Japan? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure this is just like a bog standard VIC-20 part. Let's just try that one more time. At least we know that chip is definitely working though. Yeah, okay, same checksum. All right, let's try the 06 part here. Yep, VIC-20 NTSC. Must be the kernel ROM. I was about to put this one in, but the legs are kind of mangled there. This one is good though. This is another 01 part. Let's fix these pins while that tests. Yep, that's a -01. It is passing its test. Let's see if I can fix these. Ooh, they're mangled, mangled, mangled. Should be fixable though. So I have these bent, what are these, like needle nose? Got them years ago, but what I like about them is they're flat. I don't know if that's coming up in the camera there. Like there's no texture on the inside. So I really love these for straightening out legs on dip ICs like this, because it's not textured. Like a lot of these are textured, like they have a grippy kind of knurled texture on the inside, and it kind of chews up the things you're gripping a little bit. These ones, on the other hand, don't do that. That's what I like about them. So they're really, really good for this exact purpose. I'm always using them. And I think that the bent nature of them also makes it a little easier to get in there and then grab the leg. Okay. All right, so it's not perfect, but that is going to be enough for the Retro Chip Tester Pro to read it. Alrighty, what is this going to say about this chip? Oops, I just switched the chip to a different one. 24 pin, Commodore, here we go. Will you work or will you not? You will, NTSC. All right, so grab the old marker here to write my tick marks that these are all good. Well, at least they're good in the Retro Chip Tester Pro. I have, I've tested stuff before with this, and it didn't work in a real machine, so it's not always a guarantee. All right, what is this? Let's look at this Starplex Deluxe Video Game Controller. Is this just a controller, like a game controller, to plug into a Atari or something? Or does it do more? Okay, so it is just like an Atari / VIC-20 game controller. The reason why I was tricked is I swear on the box here requires one AA battery, not included. I guess this is the auto fire capability that it does that. Oh, Astroblast produces automatic rapid fire when the fire button is depressed. Oh, look, it has an up button. Wait, it's just got left and right, down and up. What? Obviously like a particular game, maybe Astroblast, which it keeps talking about it. By the way, it's made by Starplex Electronics in Spokane, Washington. Not too far from Portland here. Yeah, Astroblast. I guess this is for the 2600 maybe? Actually, now I think about it, left and right, fire button and separate up and down. This must be for like asteroids, isn't it? On the 2600, for instance, or on any other system, because left and right and fire are the main buttons you have to use. And I think up is shield and down is teleport or whatever. So that's got to be what it is. Simulates down movement of controller. Simulates the up movement. Well, anyways, the awesome wood grain on this, even though it's just a sticker, it's pretty nice, and this is in really good condition. All right, let's take a look at this first motherboard here, the one that was outside. So this is obviously the later VIC-20 motherboards. They take 5 volt directly from here versus a 9 volt AC input. The early ones had like a giant linear regulator on them, a big heat sink, and they got really hot. So it's kind of cool that they went to this later design. So that's the video chip. There's the CPU socket. These are the two ROMs that I think are missing. There's also a 901460-03, which is populated. These are the RAM chips right here. This here is the RAM. And these are the two I/O chips. And this wire is normal. It brings the power over to the user port there. So let's populate this with the CPU. Let's make sure no pins are bent on here. They are not. We'll just stick them in here to bend them a little bit so it's a little easier to get in. How about I just deoxit this a little bit just to make it go in a little easier. The lubricant in deoxit just makes getting ICs in and out of sockets that much easier. Like that. So what I don't know about this motherboard is which socket is the kernel ROM and which is the other ROM. I don't know, of these two here. And of course I go look online and UE11 ROM, UE12 ROM. Well, that's extremely unhelpful. This is 11 and 12 right here. So how about something a little bit more useful? All right, I'm over on Zimmer's here. VIC-20s CR, that's cost reduced, Rev D. I'm assuming that's what this is. I know this is the cost reduced board here. Let's see, let's look at the schematics here, try to figure out which is the ROM that I am looking for. I'm even let down by the schematics. UE11 and 12, it just says 2364, 063, and 094. Well, that doesn't tell me anything I need to know. All right, I finally found a picture. It shows the ROMs, it shows the chips labeled, but they helpfully put basic and kernel over the chips, but now I can barely decode them. Looks like that's 06 and that's 01. So that would be the basic ROM in the lower of the two sockets. Kind of hilarious that it was so difficult to figure out where these chips went. So let me just repopulate these ICs. This one is a little bent there. I'll just double checking I didn't bend any pins. And since I always insert things the wrong way, all of these are notch up. That one doesn't have a notch, but it has a dot. So that is correct. That is correct. Those are, yeah, these are good. Everything else looks pretty good on this motherboard. All right, from a power perspective, I just used the C64 power supply. Okay, I need another video cable though, because the one I was using on that has the S video on it, and this does not have that. So I have a little pigtail here for the VIC-20 that I made, which also works fine on the 64, incidentally. Alrighty, it's connected to the RetroTink. Turn this on, and there is no signs of life, nothing. Where's the multimeter? First thing to always do is check for power. All right, we're getting 4.9 volts, so we definitely have power. That's a good sign. But we're getting no video output whatsoever. Let's check for super hot chips. Video chip is warm, but that might be normal. Why don't we swap it out with this video chip here? And I'm going to deoxit that socket. Deoxit that socket, it's my favorite thing to say lately. Just so it's easier to get that chip in there, make sure the power is off, and it is. I didn't even check that these legs are straight. They are. Okay, here we go. Nothing. Interesting, there's no video signal. I wonder if it's these pots right here. Let me turn that up. No, that is not doing anything. This is very unusual. Oh, you know what would help? If I didn't plug the video cable into the audio connector. That would actually give us a possibility of working. I'm just gonna switch back to the original VIC chip. Yes, this is a VIC chip, not a VIC-2 like on the 64. Yeah, the fact that there's no output whatsoever is certainly interesting. Okay, well, yeah, it's not working. It does seem to have an effect, like there's now color bars as soon as I turn off the machine. That's the RetroTink just doing that. Turn it on, it goes to a blank screen. So I think something is coming out of this machine, but it's not happy. super mini mail calls aren't full-on repair videos, so I'm gonna mark this as in need of repair, and this will be a future repair video. So there we go, Brad Unknown black screen. Everything looks good on this motherboard though. Remember the last one of these I repaired had like a bunch of corrosion going on some of the ICs? This one does not have that. In addition, these ICs here, none of these are, none of them are MOS branded. Obviously the big ones are, but like these 74 DSLogic chips are not. These are Fujitsu. This is, what, MS? I don't know what brand that is, but this is a 2114 RAM. Anyway, everything looks okay on this board. And on the back, it does not look like it's been reworked. So that'll be an interesting future repair. And now let's check out this gold label VIC-20 here. Original VIC-20 there. Look, I love how it says it uses 117 volts, 1 amp on the back. Like what? No, that's not right. Why would you print that there? This machine appears to have no screws in it. I went to go take the screws out and there weren't any. So there we go, that comes right off. Oh, look at that, yep. Look at that old style keyboard design there. Yeah, this looks very different than anything I'm used to with like a bracket here holding the wire on. Wait a second, this is a PET keyboard, as in it uses the same font as the PET. Because look at the clear home there. I've never had one of these personally up close. That's kind of cool. It's very dull. It needs some serious TLC, little 303. Let's pop one of these off. Let's take a look at what's underneath here. I think these are very much like the PET keyboards. Let's get this key, let's get that key off. Come on. Wow, that's not coming up. All right, there we go. It came off. That was just very stuck. Yeah, so it uses a normal spring and I don't know, it all looks very similar. I think underneath, when you take the PCB off, it does look different than the 64 keyboard does though. Like the plungers are different or something. Oh yeah, these keys are really held on there very strongly. How cool though, a PET keyboard. So this would really be coming from one of the very early machines. VIC-20s only had these style keyboards for a little while before it switched to ones that look like the 64. What's the serial number on this thing? Well, the serial number doesn't look really low, 1023847, so I assume that's 23,847. So I don't know. So one thing that's interesting is you see this is the cost-reduced VIC-20 board, just like the other one we looked at, and it's smaller, and it's actually, if I recall, the same size as the shortboard C64s. And if you want to mount a shortboard into a Commodore 64, into one of the US Commodore 64s, you have to use this bracket that's underneath here. Basically, this motherboard sits on the bracket and it's actually soldered on here as part of a sort of RF shield. And then it screws into the normal holes where a typical full-size VIC-20 or C64 motherboard would mount. Now, later case bottoms, especially ones in Europe, actually had two sets of screw standoffs, a set that are like here, 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 and there for the smaller boards. But in the US, I have never seen a bread bin bottom case that had that second set of standoffs. If anyone's ever seen that, please definitely comment below. But like I said, to use a short board in a full-size bread bin case in the US, you've got to use this bracket here. All right, so out comes the motherboard, and it's going to come out with the shield on here. There we go, it is free. Underneath, there it is. And yeah, so the motherboard is held onto this with screws, but it also has these little tabs, so I'd have to desolder those first, and then you don't need those on there to hold the motherboard on. But yeah, that's the adapter bracket. But yeah, if we look at the bottom here, this is very typical for the bottoms of all the 64s and VIC-20s that I've seen. 64 and VIC-20 bottom is identical except for the cutouts, which they switch, and of course the color. But in Europe, I had seen that there are extra set of standoffs in this closer in section here for mounting of basically the short boards in there. And I've just never seen that in the US. Luckily, this case is dirty, but it's in decent shape. So this machine should clean up nicely. And on the top, there is certainly a bit of yellowing, but okay, so obviously these are broken off. But that's nothing that Jeff Burt can't fix with some of his little kits. That one is there, but these two are missing. But that is not the end of the world. Luckily, that is fixable. All right, well, let's give this thing a test here. So let's give it a quick old test. Nothing at all is coming out of the RetroTink. So let's grab the old multimeter and let's just do a quick test for voltage. Yep, we're all getting 4.83 volts, so that is working. That means the switch is good over here, the fuse is good. We're just not getting any kind of picture. Clearly this machine was out, this motherboard was outside of the case and stacked, because this little inductor here is all scratched up on the top, which comes from stacking motherboards on top of each other. But let's just double check these chips are in the right position here. 6522s, the notch is correct. 6560, that is correct. We have the -03 ROM there, the -01 here with the right notch direction, 06, and the CPU all notched correctly. So very similar to the other one, we get a black screen, but when I turn it off, although it's not even really generating a video signal, sometimes that goes blank, but when I powered it off, the color bars came back. So we're having exactly the same symptoms as the other one. So just like the other one, black screen. I did put 5 volts good on this one. Why don't I do a quick test of this joystick here? I will use the 64 for that though, since this machine is actually working. Look, I'll connect up the same cable I was using just to double check. You know, I never double checked this wire works. And it does. The RetroTink is just set to the wrong mode, which is why we're in black and white. Let's just switch this over to color. And there we go. Let's plug in the Astro Blast Starplex here. Plug in the old Easy Flash. Power that on. Let's see here, up, down. That's working, that's good. I don't have the battery in here, which I assume you gotta take the back cover off. Yeah, remove back panel to insert battery. Hopefully that's not in there, it's pretty light. All right, I've loaded up Galaxy in here, and it does work. Left and right fires. So I suppose if you don't need to go up and down like a game like this, this is not bad. Now, this is not a good version of this game. I mean, compared to the newer versions. I mean, this controller, to be honest, it's kind of cool. It's a very specific use case, like Space Invaders, good for that. Anything that doesn't require that up and down. Game like this wouldn't really benefit from auto fire because it only lets you fire 1 bullet at a time, and it has to go off screen or hit an enemy before it lets you use shoot another one. So in other words, it's kind of useless. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if I could just hold the button down. That works though. What a cool, what a cool controller. The whole thing is just so funky and cool, especially the box. Look at that, look at that. To be honest, it's good advertising. I mean, and to be honest, you're really getting what the picture on the box shows. It's not like some kind of disappointment where it looks supremely different. So there we have it. Thank you very much, Brad, for sending in all this stuff to the Super Mini mail call. And there will be future repair videos for these 2 VIC-20 motherboards. Not to mention, I'm probably going to clean up that keyboard, give it a nice 404, or is it 404? 303. That's what makes it shiny, Ken. Do that treatment to it and probably use that in the ZIF 64. Since I kind of like the way this feels, it feels very different. So I'll try that for a while. I just like the way the font looks. So I'll use that in 64. So anyways, yeah, thank you very much for all this goodies and this fun joystick too. And yes, so that is it. Thanks to my patrons. Their names are scrolling up the side of the screen. Really appreciate all of your support. If you were one of my supporters, if you want to become a patron, you can do so at the link in the description below. And if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, I'd really appreciate it. It really helps me out if you do so. And that is going to be that. So stay healthy, stay safe, and I will see you next time. Bye.